Hi, I'm Eric Marsh. Welcome to this episode of Eastern Indiana Works. Coming up, we visit with Sugar Creek Packing Company and find out how Eastern Indiana Works is connecting employers with potential employees. Hi, welcome to this episode of Eastern Indiana Works. I'm Eric Marsh. Glad you're able to join us. And right now we're going to start by talking with Denny Cochran, Vice President of Employer Engagement for Eastern Indiana Works, and Melissa Helms, who is HR Specialist for Sugar Creek Packing Company. Thank you both for spending some time with us. Denny, why are we here today? Why don't you tell us about the program that you're working with Melissa on?
Sure, yeah. First of all, Denny Cochran. I'm Vice President of Employer Engagement for Eastern Indiana Works. We are Region 6, which covers 9 counties within Region 6. And hey, the reason I'm here, my role is to build relationships with those employers within Region 6. I started this role about 2.5 years ago, and I was an employer at that time. So what I would give if I would have had an employer engagement team from the region that I was serving in come to me and offer some of the programs that we have.
When you say employer engagement, what does that mean?
Sure. We go throughout the region, high wage, high demand employers, build that relationship, and when I go in, I want to go in to add value. I know when I was an employer, if somebody was coming in and they were sitting across the table, I wanted them to speak to me about something that would add value for our company. So with that being said, we go in, we say, hey, what are your pain points? And 2.5 years ago, I had the great opportunity to come into Sugar Creek, meet Melissa, and say, hey, what are some of your pain points? As most employers within Region 6, the answer is we need people to go to work. We need warm bodies that will show up, do the job that we ask them to do, perform it well, and show up the next day. With that being said, we started the work experience program, and we took it from there.
Interesting that one of the pain points for employers is getting people to show up to work. I would think that for as many people as are saying there's no jobs, there shouldn't be a problem with the workforce. Where's the disconnect?
There's plenty of jobs out there. The disconnect is the soft skills. I'm a firm believer that when our career coaches at our local offices are working with their customers, the job seeker, I think it's very important that we bring in those soft skills training before we even promote them to an employer like Sugar Creek.
Tell me about the work experience program. What was the impetus behind bringing that to play, and what is it?
Sure. The work experience program, like I said, when we go in, we want to take pain off their plate. And this is one way we can do that. This is a program we can look in our pool of people that our career coaches at the local offices are working with, and see if there's a contact there. We have the employers put in their job order in indianacareerconnect.com. The career coaches that are working with those customers, the job seeker, what are you looking for? They can look in ICC and say, hey, if you're from this community, you're local, what do you think about this posting that Melissa had put in for Sugar Creek? We connect the dots and say, hey, Melissa, what do you think about the work experience? What the work experience is, I try to simplify it for the employer. It's try before you buy. What we can do is have Melissa interview that customer that our career coach has been working with, bring them in, and if Melissa says, yeah, we like this person, this is when we would like for them to start, We place them at Sugar Creek. It's our workers' comp. We pay for their wages for 4 weeks.
Okay.
Try before you buy, and it's also try before you buy with the job seeker. So we place them in Sugar Creek, and Melissa has an opportunity to see, hey, this is going to be a good fit. It also gives the job seeker, is this going to be a good fit? And then after the 4 weeks, hopefully the employer will bring that customer on full-time.
Okay. Melissa, from your standpoint, how is this different from your normal hiring procedure, and what are the advantages to you?
Well, it actually opens up a whole different area of candidates to us that we normally wouldn't have looked at, because we require a certain amount of skills and job time and things of that nature. We have those bottom line factors, and we know that these job seekers come to us may not have those, but we also know that they've been coached and trained and they've had that extra help. So giving them that opportunity to come in and work for us under this program not only benefits them, but also benefits us in the respect that they've had those additional things. So say somebody comes in who doesn't have longevity on a job, or no manufacturing skills, we know that they've been through this program, so we can give them that opportunity. Had they had walked in the door and applied, they probably would have been denied. So it's really opened up to a new pool, and employers need to really be thinking outside of the box right now for candidates.
How long has Sugar Creek been involved with this particular program, and how effective has it been for you?
So I met Denny in 2017 and learned about the program, and we've been involved in it ever since, pretty heavily, I believe. And we've had a pretty good success rate bringing people through the program. We've been able to give opportunities to maybe some younger folks who wouldn't have gotten the opportunity otherwise, and they've been able to come in and establish some longevity in their careers and their work.
Outside of the program, what are some of the general things that you look for when you're looking at a resume? What are some of the things that really makes an applicant stand out to you? Some of the things that you see that really kind of make you smile? Having to think outside of the box. We're not looking for just the manufacturing experiences like we had in the past, even 10 years ago. People coming into us, as long as they've got some decent work history, even if it's in the service industry, we can draw from that and translate that into the manufacturing here, because you also have the added item of we're a startup facility. So there's a lot of new things, new processes. We're learning a lot ourselves along the way. So that's really been an opportunity to fill that need. What advice can you give to potential employees out there as they're preparing to start into the workforce, particularly for young people that maybe are just getting out of college looking for that first real full-time job? What do they need to know when they're approaching someone like you?
So, it's hard in that interview when you're sitting across the table from someone to know if they're going to like the work or if they're going to be able to do it. So the best thing that I could give as far as advice is make sure you've got a clean resume and you answer the questions honestly. It's frustrating when someone says, yeah, I left that job to get a better job, but then the better job that they're referring to didn't happen for 4 to 6 months. You've got that gap. You want to be honest with your answers. It's not always about impressing the interviewer as it is about providing real life answers.
When you say a clean resume, is that what you mean by the no gaps, or are there other things that you've seen in resumes that you would suggest go away?
Things just don't make sense. From our point of view, we're not looking for the constant back-to-back work experiences. We understand life happens. People take time off to take care of family members, things of that nature. But when you're trying to fill the gaps with incorrect information or things that aren't really relevant, that comes out in the interview. And it's unfortunate because the kids these days are really starting to put that down on paper, and they believe that that's an important aspect to make sure there's no gaps, and they're filling it with jargon instead of real life experiences. I'd rather hear about how you took care of your family member than I left the job for a better job, but I didn't find anything else for 4 months.
Denny, as you've worked with employers like Sugar Creek throughout the region, what are a couple of the other, as you mentioned, pain thresholds that they're up against and that you're trying as an employer engagement person to work out with them?
Sure. What I hear commonly is just training. I know we have different funding revenues that come in. I know our fiscal year starts the 1st of July, and our funding is very low right now in order for us to help someone out. But when I first came on, there was an incumbent training grant that we were able to provide incumbent workers for those employers training to skill them up, and then we could use this work experience to fill the entry-level positions. So really the incumbent worker training to skill people up.
All right. We're going to take a break. We'll have a chance to talk to a couple of employees that have gone through this program with Sugar Creek, get their perspective as we continue with Eastern Indiana Works. Welcome back to Eastern Indiana Works. We are at Sugar Creek Packing Company in Cambridge City, Indiana. Appreciate them giving us some time to talk to them as well as some of their employees today. And we have Joseph Johnston with us. Joseph, thanks for taking some time off of work.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about what you were doing before you came here to Sugar Creek.
I worked a 12-hour night shift job, but that didn't last very long. And then I went to a car parts facility. And after I got injured there, they let me go the next day. And for a while, I was having bad luck finding a job. And then my brother told me about a job fair that was going on in Connersville, Indiana. So I went over there with him and his friends, and I'm here now.
What kind of work do you do here?
I do various things. I do MUDA, which is basically Sugar Creek's special word for trash duty. Okay. And they usually entrust me with doing spices to go into the blends. I've blended a little bit myself.
Are you enjoying it?
For the most part, overall, I really do love my job here.
Okay. What advice do you have for people that are in your position, that are looking for work? How can Eastern Indiana Works help them the way they helped you?
Well, first off, I'd say fill out the necessary paperwork, and if they get to talk to a representative, I'd explain first what I want, what my situation is, transportation, figure that out, and basically give them any and all information that they need and comply with them with everything, and they'll be able to set you up real well.
You've been able to make some real adjustments in your life, because I hear transportation was an issue for you.
Yeah, that was an extreme issue, because previously in the past I've had a really hard time getting my license because of various issues like schooling, and when my grandma passed, that was another thing that made it a bit more difficult. But then I got my learner's permit, filled out the necessary hours, and when I got my job here, my grandfather helped me out tremendously with getting my hours in. And then when he went to get his knee replaced, I took my driver's test and got my license, and he actually managed to help me get a car with this job, and which is in the parking lot.
So you've overcome a lot of obstacles with being able to be employed full-time.
Many obstacles, so much so that I didn't think I'd be able to finish it all in less than a year.
But you got it done. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I'm going to let you go back to work. Thank you very much for taking the time and talking with us. Congratulations on the position and everything you've been able to do with your life.
Thank you for bringing me here, man.
You're welcome. We've changed the people in the seat. I'm now sitting across from Michael Moore. Michael, thanks for taking a few minutes and talking with us. Tell us a little bit about yourself, where you live, and how you came to be involved with Eastern Indiana Works and their work experience program.
I live in Connersville,
Okay.
and I was actually looking for a job, and my grandma told me about this place, and I filled out an application, and then they called me back, and then I had to go through Work 1 in Connersville to go through some classes, because this is my first job working at a factory like this. And so I had to take a couple classes, and then after those classes I got here.
Tell us a little bit about the classes. What were they about, and what did you do with their coaches?
Just how to work in the factory, the proper way of doing stuff in the factory and everything like that.
Can you tell me what you think the change was that helped you from the time that you were looking and not being able to get a job, and then going through with the career coaches? What changed in you, or what changes did you make that you think helped you get the job here at Sugar Creek?
Learning how to work at a factory.
Okay, such as, when you say learning how to work at a factory, I'll tell you, I've never worked in a factory. What would I need to know that you learned going in? What kind of things can you tell me?
Learning how to communicate, and learning how to the proper way if you pick up boxes, and safety of others and yourself.
Okay, great. I know you've taken some time off from work to talk to us. I know you want to get back to work as opposed to talking to me. So thanks for taking some time, Michael. I appreciate it. Welcome back to Eastern Indiana Works. We've just moved into the chair, Gus Lindy, Vice President of Workforce Strategy. And what's the other piece of that?
I'm also what they call the one-stop operator. So my job is to coordinate services across our region, across our system.
Why one-stop operator? I have to stop and ask.
Yeah.
What is that?
That is taking a lot of different programs. So a number of the state programs, so Department of Workforce Development, programs with Child and Family Services, educational programs, and bringing those partners together in the programs that they run, and figure out how we find some synergies and make the best use of all of our programs. We also manage the Work One offices for Eastern Indiana Works.
Okay.
But that's just one small component of the bigger picture.
Workforce strategies, is that that sounds like something that in this day and age is really kind of a moving target that you're trying to hit, because things continue to evolve from the employer side as well as the potential employee side.
They do. I mean, our funding continues to change with market conditions. Funding opportunities change. So the strategies include not just regular funding that comes in through federal resources, but also grant opportunities with philanthropy organizations, employer partners, and just a lot of us pooling our resources together to say, hey, if we pull it together, how do we solve the issue at hand? Whether it's a social problem, the opioid epidemic, soft skill issues that we know go on with some of our clients and their behaviors, homelessness, working with single parents, and transportation issues that go along with that, and the list goes on and on.
I think that may be one thing that people don't completely understand about Eastern Indiana Works, is that as the Workforce Development Board, you all aren't just looking at one piece of something. You all are really designed to look at the whole picture.
Yeah, we try to meet people where they're at, whatever their issues or barriers are. I mean, the goal is to get people back to work, absolutely. Mm-hmm. But we have to evaluate the root causes of why people aren't getting back to work. Is there family issues? Do they have to care for loved ones that prevent them from working what they would like to work, or what most people consider as a typical work day? Mm-hmm. So there are varying barriers. Do they have some demons they need to address that cause them some problems on the job? Whether it's a drug problem, behavioral problems, dealing with what goes on in their regular everyday life. So, addressing that and having those conversations, sometimes just helping people understand that they do have a barrier. Most people think, oh, I'm just wanting to get a job, but what's causing them? I like to say, we try to help people in 3 ways: market themselves, sell themselves to an employer, and then negotiate the best opportunity for themselves.
We've had a chance to talk to a couple of gentlemen that are working here at Sugar Creek, came in through the Work Experience program. Yes. Talk about how your side of the office kind of helped with that, because being with Work One, they've got career coaches.
Right.
What is that process like? What do they do? How do they help what you call clients?
Yeah, so we help them through that entire process. So one, are we helping them market appropriately? We work on the resume, we help them understand the job. We work very closely with the employer engagement team to help understand what those requirements are from that employer, so that we can help, like a better term, spoon feed that to the client. Most people don't research those things out very well. Mm-hmm. We then work, the next step is helping them with the interviewing, helping them understand questions they may want to ask that employer, questions they may get from that employer, what's that employer's mission, and what are the values of the company they may be interviewing with, so they can speak fluently in those interviews. And then lastly, if they get an offer, we stay connected with them and help them think through, did you ask these questions? Maybe you need to follow up with them and find out what's the entire benefit package look like from that employer. And again, then we follow along with them after we do all of those things. And it could take us a couple hours, it could take us 10, 15 hours of working with a client, depending on their needs. Every person is individual, and I think that's what's key about what we do. We really try to give individualized services. Anybody can go out and use an applicant tracking system, Indeed, Monster, Career Builder. Right. The Eastern Indiana Work system, we provide career coaches that help you one-on-one get the skills, get the information you need for your next great opportunity. And so we move on from there. Once we help you land that job, we stick with you for up to a year. We'll check in with you at least on a quarterly basis. Usually if you land that job, we may be contacting you on a weekly basis. How's it going with your supervisor? How's it going? Have you received your first check? What concerns or what issues are you having? Are you able to get to work on time? How's your transportation? We'll ask all those questions and just keep very engaged in your process of getting yourself where you need to be. As we heard with a couple of the other clients, we want them to have their own place, have their own freedoms, and achieve the goals that they have set for themselves in life.
Thanks for your time. Gus Lindy, Vice President of Workforce Strategy for Eastern Indiana Works. Have a good day. Before we go, a big thank you to Mike Rao and everyone at Eastern Indiana Works for continuing to allow us to collaborate with them on this project. For employment resources for individuals, youth, or employers, visit the Eastern Indiana Works website at easternindianaworks.org. On future episodes, we'll look at Eastern Indiana Works' efforts to create job training and employment opportunities for veterans and provide tips to residents who are looking for work for the first time in a while. We'll also continue to introduce you to employers because it's important for all of us that Eastern Indiana works.